She was just one day away from being discharged. One day away from finally seeing her mother again. One day away from leaving the war behind. But fate had one last mission for her, and it began the moment the enemy sniper spoke her name. Before we dive into this unbelievable true story, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to Her Mission Diaries for more stories of courage, survival, and the human spirit. Because today's story might just change how you see war forever. It was dawn in the burned-out ruins of Al-Karim. The air smelled of smoke and iron. Lieutenant Sarah Monroe sat against the wall of an abandoned school, clutching her rifle loosely in one hand. Her discharge papers were already signed. She was supposed to leave the next morning. After 3 long years in the field, she had survived more battles than she could count, seen friends fall beside her, and carried the weight of too many promises made to mothers, husbands, and children. Tomorrow was meant to be peace. But peace, she would learn, is something you have to fight for until your very last breath. Her unit had been ordered to hold their position for one final night before extraction. Simple, they said. Quiet, they hoped. But war is never simple, and quiet doesn't last. Sarah's team was positioned near a collapsed bridge overlooking a valley, a known crossing point for insurgents. She scanned the ridgeline through her scope, her heartbeat slow but steady. Then, through the crackle of her headset, a voice whispered, "Movement on the East Ridge." Private Kellen, the youngest in the squad, barely 20, was on overwatch. Sarah looked through her scope. Nothing but shimmering heat waves. "Stay sharp," she murmured. The sun climbed higher, and the silence stretched. Until crack, a single shot echoed. Kellen dropped instantly. The world tilted. Sarah's instincts took over. She dove for cover, barking commands, heart pounding like thunder. A sniper. Precise, deliberate, and close. The next few minutes blurred into chaos. Dust rose around them as bullets carved through walls and stone. Sarah dragged Kellen behind cover, blood soaking her gloves. He was breathing, barely. "Stay with me," she whispered. The sniper's shots were controlled, surgical. Someone who knew exactly what they were doing. Then it happened. Between gunfire and shouts, a chilling voice came through the radio frequency. A voice no one should have heard. "Lieutenant Monroe," it said, low and cold, with an accent she hadn't heard in years. "You don't remember me?" Her blood ran cold. The sniper knew her name. She froze, staring at the radio as her team fell silent. No one spoke. Only the sound of wind and crackling static filled the air. "Who is this?" She finally replied, her voice steady though her hands trembled. "You left me to die," the voice said. "But I survived. And today I return the favor." Sarah's mind raced. Memories flooded back. Her first deployment, a raid gone wrong, an ambush where a local ally was left behind. His name was Rahim. She had thought he'd been killed in the explosion that day. But what if he hadn't? The sniper's shots resumed, tighter, closer, pinning them down completely. The team couldn't move and backup was hours away. The desert sun burned overhead, and Kellen's pulse was fading fast. Sarah knew she couldn't wait. She had to face the sniper herself. As the sky dimmed to orange, she whispered a prayer, loaded her last magazine, and crawled into the open. One last mission, she told herself. One last fight before home, and then, through the scope, she saw him, eyes locked on hers. Rahim, the man she thought was dead, was alive. For a long moment, time stopped. Dust swirled between them like ghosts of the past. Sarah's breath caught as Rahim lowered his rifle, just slightly, and spoke again through her earpiece. "You were supposed to save me," he said. "Instead, you saved yourself." "I tried," she shouted, her voice echoing across the valley. "I thought you were gone, Rahim." He didn't respond. Instead, a single tear glistened down his cheek as he adjusted his aim, not at her, but past her. "Move!" she heard him yell suddenly. Sarah dropped flat as a burst of gunfire erupted from behind. Another enemy team had flanked her squad. But Rahim's shot rang out first. The attackers fell. Her hands shook. He had just saved her life. Then silence again. The radio crackled. "Now we're even," Rahim whispered. "Go home, Sarah." Before she could answer, his position exploded in a flash of fire and dust. The air trembled. The ridge collapsed. The sniper who once sought revenge vanished into the smoke. Days later, as her helicopter lifted off for the last time, Sarah stared down at the ruins. Part of her wished she could believe he'd died instantly. Another part hoped he'd survived. But deep inside, she knew that some stories don't end with victory or loss. They end with understanding. Months later, Sarah stood at a military hospital, finally free, finally discharged. A nurse handed her a letter, found in the ruins during cleanup. It was signed, "I forgive you, live well." Our tears blurred her vision as she folded the paper against her heart. The world would never know what happened in that valley, but she would never forget. Her mission wasn't just to survive, it was to remember, to forgive, to heal, and that was the true end of her war. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Her Mission Diaries for more powerful, real-life stories of courage, humanity, and hope from the front lines. Every story deserves to be heard, and you make that possible.